Oh, I got one for you, Smith. Who would have been amazing this? Lee Evans.
Lee Evans. Oh,
There's a fucking bear out there. There's a bear.
Hello, you are listening to Off Radar, It's a Movie podcast. I'm James Smith, a professional film and video editor.
I'm James Eatock, a freelance writer and illustrator specialising in 1980s cartoons.
And I'm Neil Brock, aka Nige, the man with two names, former film journalist and currently working in the games industry.
Each week, one of us picks a movie that all three of us either haven't seen in many years or in some cases haven't seen at all.
We each watch the chosen movie, return to the microphone and let you all know exactly what we thought of it.
I'd never really had any interest in watching it and I was proved absolutely right.
I think it's amazing. I really, really love this film.
The film's still a pile of steaming dog shit.
If you fancy joining in and suggesting a movie for us to watch, why not tweet us at Off Radar Podcast
or email us on offradarpod@gmail.com.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe, share, and by all means, leave a review.
For now, strap in, turn the volume up, and let's go Off Radar. I just need a really quick wee-wee, then we'll crack on.
I need to do a wee-wee. Yeah.
I did my wee-wee.
Hello. Start. Welcome back
Begin.
to the start of the beginning. Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Off Radar.
Cocaine. Welcome to Off Cocaine.
Yeah, Off Cocaine Bear. Jesus.
You have to start this again, Smith.
I'm James Smith. I might carry on. I'm joined by James Eatock.
Hello.
And Neil Brock.
Hello.
Who we call Nige, and we're going to do this episode really, really quickly.
Because we're implying we're on coke.
Today we are talking about a film which came out this year, 2023, called Cocaine Bear. I take it none of us had seen this?
No, because it was quite a new release.
Quite new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of the, I'm not going to say hype, I knew it was coming out because it was a, let's be honest, when you hear the title, you're never going to forget it, to be honest. And like they were doing teaser trailers and then the official trailer dropped either late last year or very early this year. And I was like, oh, I might not watch that.
Yet you were proven wrong.
And yet someone, can we figure out who suggested this? Who suggested it?
This was suggested by Neil Brock. Yeah, like you, my first reaction was, before like you suggested this, oh, there's that film I will never watch. It's one of those films that I would assume is not up my street, but let's see if it is. So yeah, the film itself, directed by Elizabeth Banks, who is probably more known for acting, I guess. Well, from my point of view, like being in like the Hunger Games, and she starred in Love and Mercy with John Cusack and Paul Dano.
She was,
and then she's
in Spider-Man. In the Spider-Man movies, that's what
she was. Yeah. Zack and Miri Make a Porno as well. She was in Scrubs for a bit and 30 Rock and all sorts.
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh,
a great scene in that. Yeah, she's the one in the
movie. Oh, she is. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
She's very good in that. Yeah.
And she also directed Pitch Perfect 2 with Rebel Wilson and the Charlie's Angels remake,
badly received
the
remake
version. It's written by Jimmy Warden.
There was a writer in this film.
Believe it or not.
I'm already getting positive vibes off Eatock. Stop the press.
I love it already. Is this? Yeah. And it stars. Okay, stars is a big word.
Whoa. Don't be harsh on the cast. Like,
I was going to say there are
some. Brilliant.
Keri Russell. And I didn't know I recognised this bloke throughout the whole film, and I didn't really realise who it was. But O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Oh yeah, Ice Cube's son.
Ice Cube's son. I was like,
yeah, he's great. He's in. I saw him in Straight Outta Compton. He plays Ice Cube in Straight Outta Compton.
Is he in? Oh man, that's a great film. I didn't even realise it was him.
If you watch Straight Outta Compton, you like the first time I saw Straight Outta Compton, which is a great film. Spoiler. I remember watching it thinking, wow, they cast Ice Cube's son really good. And then you see the credits, it's like, oh, it's actually Ice Cube's son.
I totally forgot that.
And he's great in. He's such a good actor.
He is good.
He plays David in this film.
Yeah. And then Alden. All right, here we go with my pronunciations. Alden Ehrenreich, who I've not really seen him in much, but he's been in the Solo, a Star Wars story thing. So he's obviously been in that. Well, yeah, I've not really seen him in much before.
But you've also got Margot Martindale, who's a very famous character actress. Who's done a huge amount of TV. She even appeared in...
Is she the park ranger?
Yes.
Yeah, I love her. She's in a show.
BoJack Horseman as well.
Oh, she was in a show I watched on Netflix, which I didn't particularly like, but she was great in it, called The Watcher. She was really good in it.
Isaiah Whitlock Jr. as well, who's kind of well known for being in The Wire, especially, and being like, plays a cop.
I think he even says that in this film, doesn't he?
I don't think he does. I think I was waiting for him to say it the whole film. Probably for the best.
Imagined him saying she.
Yeah, because I've never seen The Wire, and yet I know him from She. A cheerful scout, John Drabble would always play that video.
Constantly.
It was good though. I liked it. But Smith, you said that's it.
No, I meant that's it.
He was about to say the biggest star is
right.
And then the biggest star in this film, who's not in it actually that much, which is probably one of his last films, sadly.
I think it is his last film.
It was his last recorded film, not his last released film.
Okay. Was Ray Liotta.
There's no reason to make a distinction. Yes, Ray Liotta.
The late and great Ray Liotta. But yeah, so there was another film that came out after this, I think, which... but yeah. And Cocaine Bear... Well, Nige, obviously you picked it, so I've asked you to give us a synopsis, which should be fairly easy for this one. What's it about?
Please overcomplicate it.
No, please don't.
No. Right. So basically, this is like Scarface, but instead of Al Pacino, there's a bear.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's what this is. No, so what actually happens is there's a drug dealer in a plane in 1985 flying over America. He's about to jump out of the plane with all his drugs, smacks his head, unconscious, falls to the ground, splat. Unfortunately, all his bags of drugs, of cocaine, get scattered across the Chakuy-Oconee National Forest,
Nice.
Which is apparently like in Georgia. And yeah, some bear finds it and turns out bloody loves cocaine. And from there, the story progresses where a bunch of unfortunate individuals cross his path, be it the drug dealers trying to get their drugs back, a poor mother searching for her children, a park ranger, or a cop who's tracking said drug dealers. And hilarity / gore / bizarreness ensues in a B-movie schlocker type, Snakes on a Plane type situation.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars worth of cocaine fell from the sky this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee.
There's more of this out there. They dumped it somewhere.
I'm looking for my daughter.
Forest is a dangerous place.
Hey, Henry, check it out. Something got into it. A deer, maybe.
A lot of cocaine was lost. I need you to go and get it.
No, don't eat that, don't eat that.
Let's see what kind of effect that has on you.
The bear. It fucking did cocaine.
That was the vibe I thought I was going to get even when you just see the title, even if you don't know anything about it, is a modern day B movie. I'm going to try and be bad to be good type of film. The one thing we talked about Fargo a few weeks ago, and right at the front of this film it doesn't say this is inspired by a true story, it says this is a true story. And the only true bit about this story is that some drugs fell out of a plane, like you said at the beginning with the drugs thing, and a bear was found dead after getting the cocaine.
Ingested lots of cocaine, like 40 kilos, and it basically blew up his heart essentially.
But I will say this, when it says this is a true story, I think they have a joke by citing the source as Wikipedia.
Yeah, they do have a joke. Yeah.
Infamously, Wikipedia is 99, well, probably less than that, reliable, but people can just edit it as they see fit. So I think that's why it has that cites Wikipedia as a source, because it just makes you go, oh, yeah.
So they made a funny.
They did a funny at the start.
We open up with a couple of Scandies basically in the forest. One of them played by the guy who was in Game of Thrones as one of the people north of the wall. There's a lot of good TV
It's funny, yeah. These kind of actors popping up in this film.
Yeah, I just want to go back to Keri Russell. Now, Keri Russell is a very, very talented actress who was in a TV show called The Americans with a guy called Matthew Rhys, who's who's a Welsh guy. And it's an absolutely fantastic, brilliant TV show. I think it used to be on FX.
Oh, right.
It's essentially set in the 80s and is about a couple of Russians who kind of infiltrate and spy on America and play like a normal, happy family. They actually eventually got married in real life, and they did this film together. Matthew Rhys plays the guy at the start, the pilot that smacks his head whilst he's throwing the drugs out. Keri Russell obviously plays the mother in this, who turns out to be a nurse who's trying to look after her children. And they've gone on to have like really successful TV careers since this. Like Matthew Rhys has done Perry Mason TV show, which is supposed to be really highly rated, and Keri Russell's now starring in The Diplomat, but was also in one of the previous Mission Impossible films. So she was in one of the more recent Star Wars as well. And also starring in The Americans was Margot Martindale. So again, it's this kind of reason to bring these people back together, because they did such a great job in The Americans, and it's like, let's put them in a film. So I think the acting quality is like some really, really unbelievably talented people.
Yeah, the
however,
is great.
Obviously, the concept of this film is to be almost so bad it's good, or so bad it's funny.
I don't think you need anyone famous in this film, to be honest, because it does. You don't need to be a good actor to be in this film. I think straight away I'm going off on one, but for instance, Ray Liotta, he's a superb actor, but he's almost. It feels like he's rubbish in this.
I will say this, like in defense of this movie, I wouldn't say Ray Liotta's movies in recent times.
Oh, he's done a lot of terrible films.
Yeah. Like, I remember him
He's probably done more bad films than good films.
Yeah, like everybody.
I just remember him from Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. We all remember him from Goodfellas, but it's like beyond that, certain films I've seen him pop up in. He was in that. Oh, I'd love us to review that film one day. Guy Ritchie film Revolver.
Oh, right.
That would be such a fantastic review. A film that has the audacity to have no end credits at all. So if you worked on that movie,
wow.
you never... No, just face black screen. No end credits, no production company or anything. But Ray Liotta is in that, and he's so... I mean, everybody's so bad in that film. Spoiler. It's not particularly good. But yeah, Ray Liotta, I think him being in this... It's kind of, I don't want to sound horrible, it's kind of what I would expect in a way.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't mean like, this film is this, so Ray Liotta's
I
in
was
it.
surprised.
It's just, I think you could get Ray Liotta in a movie like this.
And the other thing is, like, straight away in this film, obviously the fact it's based loosely on a true story. It's set in the 80s. It's something that a lot of TV and films are doing at the moment, trying to tap into our nostalgia. But it all feels and looks like a B movie, like I said. So the way it's shot are quite often big wide shots. You would get the occasional kind of close up, but it actually feels quite loose. It feels very TV-ish. And obviously, I don't know if that's intentional or not. The one scene that I thought didn't feel like that was in the bathroom where Ice Cube's son has the fight, which I thought was a really brilliant dynamic scene.
Really good scene.
Basically gets into a fight.
Yeah, with the three guys have been terrorising this park for a while. They're like the rude boys of this national park. And yeah, they encounter a couple of drug dealers who obviously don't take their shit quite so easily.
You got the fucking knife, man. Come on. Just there. Come on, man. Get the fucking knife. Go on.
And then you've got these other characters. So you've got, like you said, the mum and the kids. So the kids are kind of like on their own, lost there, who are, by the way, incredibly annoying kids, which are meant to be incredibly annoying. But well,
they do sample some cocaine as well, which is quite
that is kind of sweet, isn't it? Kind of funny where she kind of
Smith, you can't say children having cocaine is kind of sweet.
Well, no,
you're going to get us taken off the air.
It's sweet in the fact that they don't, is what I get at. And but
they do, and they enjoy themselves.
But
it's a disgrace
because they're kids. You know that these kids are never going to die in the film, so you're never scared that they're ever going to die in the film. Whereas other characters are so expendable that you could basically kill anyone off in this film, which is kind of what happens, really. So then you've got them, and then you've got the guy who climbs the tree.
Yeah, he's the guy who's in like Modern Family. So he's someone...
Yes, that's why I recognise him.
Yeah, he basically is almost like the love interest of Margot Martindale, someone who's like a hiker in the area. And yeah, he ends up where cocaine gets spilled onto his like t-shirt, and he climbs up a tree because they realise this bear's coming and the children are hiding up a tree, and they're like, you're safe because you're up a tree, and he's like, actually no, bears can climb trees, and that ends with predictably.
Don't they say that? Then why are you up a tree? And he's like, I don't know. It's all very hilarious.
I'm not sure you're being serious.
I mean, it's meant to be. It's meant to be funny, but it.
I think the scene that made me laugh the most, at the film, was when the bear sneezes coke onto the kids, and it's like a 2-shot of the kids, and all this like, cocaine hits them. They're like, ah! And they do a runner. I did like the kid actors because they play them they're not played as kids. They're like they're written.
Yeah, it's true. Actually,
it's written by someone that doesn't know how to write children. Children aren't quick and clever and wisecracking. They are in Saturday morning cartoons or superhero movies. If you've got a film where 2 kids are seeing a bear, the only thing the 2 kids are going to do is wet themselves and get eaten by a bear. They're not going to outrun a bear or outwit a bear or be sarcastic to the park ranger or whatever. They'll be dead. But then I'm bringing reality into a film which is called Cocaine Bear, which is of course based in reality.
There was a bear.
A bear?
It was 4.
Hey, that's inappropriate.
It's interesting because some of the deaths it's weird because they're comical, but they're actually really brutal as well.
Yeah, they're very, very gory. Like you said, the guy climbing up the tree gets his like leg chewed
well, there's
off.
a couple of limbs that get like the first opening scene with the backpackers. The wife or girlfriend or whatever gets pulled like into the growth, and you just see a leg undergrowth, and then a leg just gets like given back to him by this bear, and there's a few of those kind of things.
Well, the ambulance one's the most brutal, I would say.
Oh yeah,
the guy's like his hand, and it's like disconnected at the wrist and just sort of flops over.
Yeah,
that is brutal. I actually think the bit where whoever falls out of the ambulance is almost more brutal.
It was the park ranger, isn't it?
Yeah, she goes face first. She's on like a gurney and goes face first.
And I think that's kind of more real and brutal than.
Well, there's a scene before that where again those 3 like kids, 3 youths, and like she goes to shoot him. Obviously, she's a park ranger. She's not a dead eye shot, and just like shoots him straight through the head, and it's just like brains and all sorts. So you can see what they were going for in that sort of like, as you say, like comedic gore. But as you said, it's almost like, oh, that's quite disgusting rather than humorous. But
it almost has that kind of Jaws setup, doesn't it? With the the kind of the beginning part, someone going into the water gets killed, someone on the hike gets killed but there's no point in this film, I might be different of opinion of anyone watching here, where I'm ever scared in this film whatsoever. There is no tension.
There's no tension in this film compared. I mean, it might be completely and utterly unfair to compare Cocaine Bear to Jaws, but
yeah, maybe.
But
it is.
But
it's very unfair. I wasn't comparing the whole film.
No. But you're comparing like that. The setup of like Jaws attacking, and you always feel that constant threat whenever there's like a shark or a possible shark or whatever, but you don't get that with Cocaine Bear. But it's weird. People complained from what I remember at the time when the film came out, before I knew we were going to review this. People complained that there wasn't enough Cocaine Bear in it, and I would like to make the argument that I think the film probably uses the bear. I think the film does its best that it uses the bear as sparingly as you should with a film called Cocaine Bear, because it does its best to try and build a cast of characters. I don't think it does it particularly well, but it really does try its hardest to give them backstories. I found myself, of all the characters, really caring for the kind of the drug dealers trying to get the drugs back, David and the other chap.
He's like Ray Liotta's son, isn't he? He's like
that's right, yeah,
son, yeah.
But I really bought into their characters. That was the kind of one I felt the most invested in, as well as like that guy with you get the bits of his office.
He's got a little poodle, hasn't he?
The little poodle,
he loves. He loves his poodle.
So you can see with that they even created story arcs with some of these characters. The weirdest one I think they don't quite get is Ray Liotta's character. He just seems,
it's just they've cast him as like Ray Liotta, haven't they?
Yeah,
just like gangster number one, not that terrible British film, but just random gangster that needs to get the drugs back because the heavies are coming for him.
But if anything, I'd rather him be more present in the film. There seems to be sorry, I'm jumping to the ending here, but the ending is so weird where they're on this kind of mountainside and it's all very kind of precarious and like one step and they could fall off, and then everybody decides, the drug dealers, the good guy, the good guys, whatever, they all decide they hate Ray Liotta, and his entrails get eaten by cubs.
But yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, he starts threatening cubs, and everyone loves baby.
Yeah,
cubs.
Everyone loves baby cubs.
It's this whole kind of family,
cocaine.
Yeah, this family thing.
And so they kind of turn against him, and they kind of realise actually drug dealers are bad.
We need your help. We are looking to grow Off Radar and release more and more high quality content. Please give us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your pod. And why not share with your friends and loved ones?
Help me help you.
Did you find yourselves laughing throughout this film at how bad it was, or not?
Well, not necessarily. So I think this is one of those films where they really, really, really try to make it silly, throwaway, like everyone's trying to be like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. This is funny. And I feel like there's a lot of jokes where everybody's in on it except the audience, and the audience are just looking at it and saying, this was probably a lot of fun to film and this was probably a lot of fun to write, but it doesn't translate onto the screen. And I think like the film's very colourful, it's very brash, it doesn't take itself seriously at all, which I think is fine. I think it sort of gets that 80s factor across, which, as you mentioned earlier, is like very common in modern film, to be like, oh, look at these crazy hairdos and silly fashion sense and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the reviews to this film are like sort of fairly strong, I would say, along the lines of like it's a hilarious B movie, and it's like, where is it hilarious? I know it's trying to be, but it really struggles to kind of be as funny as it thinks it is.
I totally agree.
Like, I was going to say, one standout scene isn't even hilarious, but it was the scene in the movie. I didn't even make a note of it. It's just kind of reminded me. Is when the park ranger's kind of lying on the floor and the medics are there, and she's holding the thing to her chest, like the oh my god, the stethoscope, and she's going like bah, bah, bah. And she's like, what? And the guy's walking towards the back door, and she goes, bear. And like the bear bashes through the door, and the door lands on the guy, and the bear's trying to get him, but he's under the door. He's like, ah.
Beth, we should go.
One of the weirdest scenes was when the bear. I'm actually laughing because it was quite a funny scene when the bear falls asleep on the guy. But the line doesn't make. I didn't quite, unless my anatomy of a bear is like really wrong, or they just shot it wrong or something. He says, I think this bear's female, and they're like, oh, how do you know? And he said, because its vagina is on my ear. And it's like, but its chest is on your ear, and I don't know, maybe a bear's vagina.
Yeah, but the word vagina is funny.
That is true.
I watched a film recently, which is kind of a comparison on Netflix called Fall, which is, like a modern day B movie on the similar range about two girls that climb up a massive tower. It gets stuck on the top of a tower. It's kind of bad, but it's good. But there is this kind of extra element of tension because they're on top of this massive tower, and it's quite entertaining. It's quite good. It's not amazing. I mean, it is what it is. There's some vultures, and it's silly, but it kind of hits the right marks for that genre. Whereas I don't think this film does. I just think that it's trying so badly to be bad that it's just bad. I would also make the point, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, if they had, in post-production, really made it look like a Grindhouse movie.
Yeah.
Right.
With scratches and edits and cuts and stuff to make some of the humour punchier, or, or even like a few shots where it's obvious that, you know, maybe instead of using a CGI bear, they choose like, you know, a paw, you know, a stuffed paw that comes in the shot or something.
There's one bit where she's up against the tree, I think, and the kind of paw comes into shot and hits the tree. And it felt very much like that. But generally it just feels like a massive, great big CGI bear.
That's the thing. And I just wonder if they'd kind of, they could still obviously keep the CGI bear, because I think you need to have a CGI bear in order to demonstrate it doing cocaine. But if they'd, I don't know, if they'd made it a little bit more, if they'd really leaned into the B movie aspect a bit more, and like I say, what kind of Rodriguez and Tarantino did with their Grindhouse movies, maybe it would have made it a little bit more palatable. Because part of the problem I had with this movie as well is it's very, you know, we said it's 80s and it looks really nice, but that to me is also part of the problem. It's really
glossy, isn't it?
Glossy.
Yeah.
I even like having a bit more shaky cam, a bit more Blair Witchy, kind of like add a bit of tension, make me feel a little bit scared, make me feel a little bit of something, because it's just all so, like you say, so glossy and slick.
To me, it feels like a stoner movie. It feels like the sort of film that when you're growing up and you're like, I don't know, in your late teens or whatever, it's like college, group of lads together or group of girls together or whatever, you have a couple of spliffs, you watch this film, you chuckle along with it.
Man, we did this wrong.
But I don't think necessarily, like I said, it just doesn't, I get what it was trying to do, and I kind of commend it for what it was trying to do, because again, like the whole idea, like the script is, what would happen if a cocaine got a lot of bear, if a bear got a lot of cocaine and just kind of ran wild, and you turn that into like that kind of B movie, like Lake Placid style, or even like Piranha, of just like, oh no, people getting mullered kind of thing, and you have expendable characters that have like weird little kooky backstories or little things going on, but none of it quite lands. It's really strange in the sense of, as I said, it's been quite well received. It made 90 million in the box office, so it made like triple its money. And I think a lot of that came from a very clever viral marketing campaign. Like you guys mentioned, you'd heard about it.
Yeah.
For me, I'd heard about the story of the original Cocaine Bear a long time ago. When I heard they're making a film, I thought, oh, that might be interesting. I can't believe what they might be able to do with that. And when Elizabeth Banks' name's attached again, I'm like, oh, okay. And then, as I said, I'm big fans of Matthew Rhys and Keri Russell, and I thought, okay, this has really got a chance. And I was actually really looking forward to watching this. But yeah, it just things don't seem to land properly.
This film is clickbait for me, you know.
Oh, that's actually not bad. Yeah,
you kind of feel like you're going to get a bit more from it. Well, at least I did. One thing I would say is I watched the trailer just before the pod, and the trailer's really good. It's cut.
It really is. The shot of the bear, like, kind of leaping towards the ambulance. I was just like, this film looks like it's going to be so much fun.
So much better than it was. But also, it's cut to, which is brilliant, by the way, the end credits, the white lines.
Lines by Grandmaster Flash.
So the trailer, they do that, and but yeah, it's done. That was probably my favourite bit of the film when the credits roll. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But probably just because I love the song. But...
Higher, baby.
Oh shit!
Get higher, baby.
It kind of seems like the thing that stays with a man forever.
So looking at the script, you look at the script and there's bits that you think, this should be quite funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just reading some of it now. It's like, a bear, it fucking did cocaine. A bear did cocaine. It's like, okay, that's going to be ridiculous. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that bear? And it's like, two of the kids are like, hey, Dee Dee, do you think my dad has done cocaine? Your dad has definitely done cocaine. And there's like little bits in it. But again, nothing quite lands. Nothing quite flows. There's little bits that I think are good and that are memorable, like the ambulance scene, the bit when they're climbing up the tree. As you mentioned, like the bathroom fight as well.
I thought that was my favourite scene of the whole film, and that didn't even involve the bear.
It doesn't even feel like it's from the same film when you think about it.
It really doesn't.
Do you know what? It's going to be revealed in a couple of years from now that they had AI write this entire film. Yeah, we just typed in Cocaine Bear into an AI script generator, and this was the film that came out. And it's like,
there was one line that made me laugh, and it probably shouldn't have, where the cop says, "Put the gun down and move away from the teenager," and Yeah, you see. But at the time it made me laugh. But some of the time, you're kind of laughing like, ugh. But the bear is obviously, so like you said, it's like a massive CGI bear, like over the top CGI at times from distance.
Like Paddington eyes, don't they? Where it's like,
comic.
we'll try and give emotion or comedy through the eyes. But sorry, go on.
No, but from distance, like sometimes when they're looking through the telescope thing at the beginning or the binoculars, and then it's like, oh look, there's a bear, and you see it at first and it looks kind of realish, and then all of a sudden it starts doing this weird kind of like Yogi Bear kind of dance.
Oh, if only people listening could see that little impression of a bear. We call that the Smith bear, the Bear Smith.
But it's like
the Bear Necessities.
Yeah, it is. It's a cross between Baloo out of Jungle Book and
Cocaine Baloo. That's what they should have called this.
Imagine if in Jungle Book, like what a better film that would.
That's how he could talk. He did all that coke.
Yeah.
Oh man, you fucked.
What the fuck is wrong with that bear? Shoot it, man! Bear, speed up!
Get higher, baby, and don't ever come down.
Nige, give us some trivia. I'm not sure.
There's not much trivia, I'm afraid. One of the things, like Cocaine Bear was originally intended to actually be a temporary working title, but the producers decided to release it under that name because they couldn't think of anything better, which kind of strikes me as maybe the mentality that was taken to this film for a lot of different things. And actually, the real Cocaine Bear has been referred to humorously as Pablo Escobar. So there you go.
That's good.
That is good.
They should have included that in the film. That's a funny
That
joke.
should have been the title.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to say Cocaine Bear works because people want to see that film, don't they?
Well, yeah, I wanted to see it because it sounded
Yeah.
a riot, as they would say in a 1980s trailer.
It sounded like quite the. Yeah.
And then the last bit of trivia is, of course, it was Ray Liotta's final completed film. The film's dedicated to him. He actually died a week after he came back to re-record some of his dialogue in post-production.
Wow.
And the director said that Liotta praised the look of the bear once he got to look at it, which is
high
very weak
praise.
Piece of trivia, but it's all I've got. So.
He didn't praise the film.
Yeah.
He was like, the bear looks good.
He's like, do you want to?
What do you think of the film,
Do you want
Ray?
a coffee? Yeah, bear looks good. I'll have a latte. Cheers. And then he's gone. What do we think of this film? I think we've said what we think.
Sorry, there is one last bit of trivia. Sorry, I forgot to mention this one. They are actually going to do a sequel.
Oh, God.
With Paul Bettany called Wimbledon Cocaine Bear 2.
I cannot wait to see that. I mean,
I wrote down. This is so pointless. You can probably cut this, but I wrote down other titles for just. I wrote Heroin Giraffe. So that's a good one. And I thought this one was good. Ecstasy Whale.
what if it was really lame, like Coffee Cat or something, or
Coffee Cat. I would actually pay to see a film called Coffee Cat. That cat drank all the coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, who's been feeding my cat coffee?
Don't forget
Weed
Pepsi
elephant.
Polar Bear.
Pepsi
Cola Bear.
So yeah, like I picked this film because I was really intrigued by it in terms of, as I mentioned before, Keri Russell being in it, Matthew Reeves, Margot Martindale, big fans of all of them. And I thought, you can't really go wrong with it. It's such a ridiculous concept. You've got a bear raging on cocaine. It's bound to be very silly, quite funny, and has a good chance of just being kind of one of those films. And I actually watched it with a group of friends, had a few beers. Like,
oh, really?
Kind of like, the perfect environment to sit and watch this film. But yeah, everything was kind of set up to be a film. Like we discussed before we were going to meet up, we could just watch a film in the evening, got any ideas? And both of us independently thought, Cocaine Bear's just come out. Why don't we put that on? That's going to be silly and like that perfect film. Yeah. And we kind of put it on and we all kind of expected it to be funny. And don't get me wrong, there were like chuckles along as we were watching it. And like, I think we just about enjoyed it, but we all kind of just felt a little bit deflated and a little bit like, it didn't quite hit the spot. And it was almost like the idea of it carried us through the 95-minute running time when perhaps we might have been like, let's do something else or something along those lines. And yeah, I think the ending's particularly muddled. Like, I get the feeling I'm not going to dislike this as much as you two. I think for me, it was fine. It was watchable. It's not necessarily something I go back and watch again. I think, as I mentioned, because of the cast, I'm probably going to favour this a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it a 5. And I think that is a rating whereby... Well, I'm going to be surprised if either of you get even close to that based on what you said so far. But yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't necessarily recommend anyone goes and watches this. As said, you can probably get everything you need to get from the trailer or maybe a couple of clips on YouTube. But yeah, 5 out of 10 for Cocaine
Fair
Bear.
enough. Yeah. Etok, what about you?
Yeah, like I think it's one of those things where I think it's a unique episode, this, because we've pretty much reviewed the film throughout.
Yeah,
and like I've said before, I think the premise is wafer thin, but you can do so much with it still. It's got a really good cast. I admire what they try and do by building the characters. But like we've pointed out, with all the flaws, the violence seems both horrible but comedic, and yet there's no comedy in this film. A film that's supposed to be funny is not funny. You know, it's disappointing. Ray Liotta, I don't know why he's in this movie. Again, the cast is great. Just watch them in so many other things, because they're all really good in so many other things. Going in, I thought, I'm gonna I guess like we all thought, this is gonna be great, and I'd seen the trailer, but yeah, sadly, it did not. I did not like this very much at all. Would I ever watch it again? No. Would I recommend it? No. So for me, it's a 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, for me, I feel...
Smith's going to surprise us. I give it a 10.
Absolutely adored this film.
Where are the Oscars? Give them to them.
I agree with everything you've both said, really. I think that I was expecting it to be kind of shit, but I was expecting to be kind of entertained and being made to be kind of laugh, and sometimes have a bit of tension and a bit of kind of like, oh my God, actually I'm a little bit scared at this point, but none of those things landed for me. I thought all the characters were really kind of pretty boring and uninteresting. The dialogue is just not funny, and I think with this film, for it to work, obviously it doesn't take itself seriously, but I feel like it kind of needed to take itself a little bit seriously to then, even if it is bad, like, you can kind of appreciate it a bit more. And I think other films have done that of this genre, of this modern day B movie, but this just doesn't work, because it's just it's trying so hard to be bad and funny that it's just bad. So yeah, I agree. I think I'll give it a 3 as well out of 10. I wouldn't watch this again. It was boring and pretty rubbish, really.
The writer, Jimmy Warden, who's got a lot to answer for, told Variety, and you're going to love this, especially Etok, that there could theoretically be a whole Cocaine Bear-averse. Bear-averse.
Hopefully he's taking the piss. I really hope he's kidding with the Bear-averse thing.
Guys,
I mean, that's how funny he is, because he used the word bear instead of uni and created Bear-averse. So this guy is obviously
and guys,
this writer, super talented. We're not going to let you get out this episode.
Please let me finish this episode.
No.
Bear-averse.
Bear-averse.
What do you think of Cocaine Bear?
Bear-averse.
Did it? I can't even think of a...
did it scratch your bare vagina in the right way?
Oh, God. Did it chase you up a tree and sniff your leg, or not? Email us on offradarpod@gmail.com. Tweet us at offradarpodcast. Let us know what you thought of Cocaine Bear. Maybe we've missed the point. I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe.
But
yeah, maybe we just don't understand.